Here's a story about the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. The previous Lubavitch, no, I'm sorry. This is about the Rebbe Marash. This is about the fourth Rebbe of Chabad. And the fourth Rebbe of Chabad was Rabbi Shmuel. And he was very active in communal affairs. Even though he had tremendous spiritual powers, he lived. His life was shorter than any other the Rebbe's. I think he passed away at the age of 48. But he did amazing miracles. Now he had a lot of enemies. He had a lot of enemies. The Hasidic movement always had enemies, and so he had enemies. So they got wind of the fact that he was going to be going somewhere for some sort of a big meeting, and that he had to stop off for an hour or so in the train terminal in Dvinsk. So his enemies decided that they were going to try to get him arrested. He traveled by train with a small contingent of his followers, two or three of them. When they got to Dvinsk, so his enemies, they called themselves mitnagdim, the opposers. They were religious Jews, very religious Jews. And they genuinely believed that this whole Hasidic movement was detrimental to Judaism and to whatever it was. And anyway, so what they did was they advertised that the Rebbe was going to come, and he was going to be in this holy rabbi, he was going to be in the train station in Dvinsk. The train station was big, it contained, 100 people, whatever. It was fairly large. But they invited everyone so that there would be like 300 people there. And they also brought their followers as well. So the place would be packed. The idea of what they were going to do was to pack the place and then start a riot there, to start some sort of a confusion. So it would seem, someone would hit somebody else, and someone would knock somebody else, push somebody else, that there would be a big riot over there. That's what they wanted to do. And so they succeeded. The place was packed with people. When the Rebbe arrived there, it was already packed with people waiting for him. And one of these opposers, they came to the Rebbe as though they were his followers. Rebbe, could you say a Chassidic discourse? They wanted the Rebbe to sit in the head, and they even arranged that they put a table, whatever, in front on a sort of an elevated place. And they wanted the Rebbe to say a word of Chassidut, a mimer, a Hasidic discourse. Usually a Hasidic discourse, it takes, bare minimum 15 minutes, 20 minutes, a lot of times even longer. Some took hours. They say that the second Rebbe of Chabad said one Hasidic discourse for 13 hours. Any case. So they figured in the course of this, when he was saying this and the place was packed, that they were going to start a big ruckus over there. So one of them went and told the police what was going on. And the other few of them, they started this ruckus in the place. And there started to be confusion. There were things that were becoming broken. A couple windows got broken, and etc. And the police arrived. The police arrived. And there was the Rebbe sitting in front of everyone. And he was saying this mimer of Chassidut, oblivious to everything that was going on around him. He was saying this discourse in Chassidut, like we learn in the morning in Torah Or. So the captain of the force that went there, he wanted to go to the Rebbe, and he was going to arrest him. He took his baton, whatever it is, his club, and he went to the Rebbe, and he got close to the Rebbe, and he couldn't move. Something happened, and he just became sort of like such in awe. A non-Jew, he became in awe that he couldn't, so he didn't understand what was going on. And meanwhile, this whole ruckus is going on. So we went back to tell the chief of police. He told the chief of police, listen, something's going on over there. There's this Jewish rabbi, and he's standing up, and I can't come close to him. I don't know what's going on. So the chief of police said, don't worry about it. I'll take care of this. He went down. The chief of police came. He went down. He told everybody to stand back. And he went to the Rebbe, to tell him, to yell at him, to tell him to stop. And the Rebbe did not stop. But what he did do is he put his hand into his coat pocket, and he pulled out a letter which was given by the Tsar this is Tsar, I think, what was his name? Alexander. It was given to the first Rebbe of Chabad, who was the great grandfather of the Rebbe Marash that was saying the Maimer. He took out a letter, and what does this letter say? The first Rebbe of Chabad, Rabbi Shneur Zalman, he helped the Tsar, he helped Russia in their war against Napoleon. He was very opposed to Napoleon, and he even sent spies to spy on Napoleon, which definitely helped the war efforts of Russia. And the Tsar Alexander wrote him a document saying that you and your relatives afterwards are going to be honored citizens for all generations. So he kept saying the Maimer. He didn't even open his eyes to see that this. He gave him the letter. The chief of police looked. He read the letter. He closed it. He saluted and he left. Meanwhile, the Rebbe finished the Maimer. 300 people heard this Chassidic discourse. A lot of the opposers even were tremendously, deeply impressed by this whole thing. The Rebbe's train came and he left. So what do we see over here? That because the Rebbe had so many enemies and they wanted to do bad to him, so it ended up that they increased the size of the audience by several hundred. That maybe there wouldn't have been an audience at all, and maybe the Rebbe wouldn't have said anything. So it ended up that from their destructive designs, it came out a tremendous constructive thing. And maybe we can somehow or other compare this, liken this to the golden calf. The Jewish people worship the golden calf, but by means of this, they came to a much higher appreciation of God. They knew that God would forgive them no matter what they did. A deep inner unconditional love that God has for the Jewish people, which was demonstrated by this terrible sin of the golden calf. Also, the same thing here, by means of trying to destroy the Rebbe, it ended up they just increased the number of those who were exposed to his wisdom. Have a good day with Mashiach now. God willing, we'll see each other on Sunday at 8 a.m.